I'm your host, Michelle Lynn, and on the Fearless Artist Podcast, today we have Paul, the trombonist. Paul, welcome to the show.
Hey, Michelle. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm excited to get to know you a bit better and also to hear about what you do. Been following for a while, and I know you've broken out of the traditional model for freelance musicians, trading those hours for dollars, and you've been able to scale with a lot of your clients as well to help them earn more money. So yeah, if you'd love to just introduce yourself to our audience today.
Well, it's nice to meet everyone. Yeah, so I had my first journey online a couple decades ago, and I was at the beginning, usually like 2006. I was posting up content and everything, and at that time, I was a band director, going from private school to private school, and I was also doing one-on-one lessons. And I was just really trying to have more stability in my life, and I had a massive student loan I had to pay off because I went to expensive Berklee College of Music and everything. And I just didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. So I just kept putting up YouTube videos, trombone tutorials, improvisation tutorials, and then I started a Patreon, and I hoped that, like, if the AdSense money came in, that it would finally go somewhere, and just didn't have any consistency. It's a little frustrating. And then one time I made an album, Michelle, and I sold it initially. And then I was just like, when you create something, you're like, I just want people to hear it, it's like, forget it. So I just gave it out. I gave it out to my audience. So at the time I built a decent following online because I was posting up all these videos and everything. And I gave out the album, but I didn't think anything of it, except in order to deliver on that promise, I had to get it to them. So they had to opt in, and I was collecting emails so that I could send them the album. Okay. It's like
physical
like,
CDs.
it's just the high resolution audio. Yeah.
Got it.
And then what happened was I had an email list, and it was sitting there for like a year, just collecting emails, and I didn't send anything out to them. I had an autoresponder just send out the album when they opted in. And then what happened was, like, a year later, I wrote a trombone method book.
Okay.
And I just sent an email out, and it made like $5,000 or $6,000.
Whoa.
And I was like, whoa, I guess because I thought it was all about social media followers, how many followers you have. Then I started realizing, the email list is something to it. So I started exploring it, and I realized, the list is your business. Like, if you don't, that's the platform you can control. You don't depend on the algorithm. You can kind of get your message out to whoever, whenever. I was like, oh yeah, everyone needs an email to sign into social media. Everyone needs an email to go into important banking sites. So it's not going anywhere. So the email's still here. I thought it was an outdated thing at the time. I was like, who uses email, right? And then I started to explore online marketing, and I was like, there's something to this. So then I started creating more offers, started writing more books, started doing workshops, started doing some courses. And then I discovered webinars. Then I realized, oh gosh, you can just get people to the room, blow their mind with a free class, and make an offer at the end. And then my first webinar made like 10 grand. And I was like, this is crazy. And then I started exploring it more, and I started, at this time, I'm used to hanging out with musicians, and I kind of went a different path, and I started to hang out with entrepreneurs, I guess, people that made millions of dollars online. And I realized that a lot of them weren't famous. They didn't have barely any followers or anything. They just knew how to package things and put people through a specific process. So then I discovered all different ways people were monetizing. And then I discovered creating premium offers, high ticket programs, anything over like $5,000. And then I realized that I invested in some myself, and I started to get great results. And I'm like, wait, there's a way maybe we can apply this to musicians. So musicians started to come to me, and they started to ask me what I was doing. I'd be at gigs. They'd be like, what are you doing? Because I'd be at gigs, and I would be making more money than the gigs were paying. And then they started to know changes in my life, buying home and stuff like this. And they started asking what was going on. So I started to help some of them out. And then they started to get really great results, and they started to share with their friends, and they're like, can you mentor me? Can you mentor me? And I'm like, okay, I'm just going to create a company. So I created a company called Passion Builders Online, and then we can turn it into something bigger than just me. And then what we discovered with working with all these different musicians, because at first we were helping musicians monetize whatever they wanted to do, like email lists, offers, all that. Then we discovered these premium high ticket programs for musicians. Their students were getting really great results. They were able to have control over their schedule. They were able to increase their earnings. So it was like something to this. And then, all along this whole time, I was studying advertising too. So I studied the art of advertising and I started to understand, oh, it's a science to it. And all getting good at business is two principles: simple mathematics and human psychology. So
Mm,
then I started to study, like, how do we, what are the numbers saying? What is the conversion rate? Like, what's it costing per lead? How many leads are converting into a customer? What's the lifetime value of a customer? And I started to get really good at it. And I started to spend a lot of money on the ads, and I started to make back millions of dollars. And then now, we're about to cross as a company about $10 million cash collected since 2018.
that's crazy. Congrats.
Thanks.
What a story. It's just like building, building, building. What was the most surprising thing to you along the way?
Is that your audience creates your offer, that the
Mm,
market creates your offer, that we don't create our offer. We think we do, but in order to make something work and be successful, we have to be good listeners. And when we're good listeners, we just have to listen and then give the market what they want. And when I realized that I never wrote my webinars, my audience wrote my webinars based on conversations I was having with people. And the more
mm,
conversations you have with people, the more you start to know what their needs and desires are and the problems they're having. And you start to figure out solutions on how to solve it. And once I realized that I don't create the offers, I don't create the marketing, the audience, the world creates all this. We just have to be good listeners and then organize it in a way so they can be receptive of it. Then I realized that the sky's the limit and you'll never struggle ever in your entire life.
It's amazing. Good thing you're a good listener because you're a musician to begin with. So, what were your musicians telling you that they needed? What were they struggling with?
Okay, well, it depends on what offer we're dealing with. Let's just go with the offer that I help with musicians now. So, because that's kind of my main focus right now is helping musicians to build profitable online education businesses. And I realized that, musicians were burned out with their time. So first I was like targeting everyone. I was like, okay, creatives, if you want to do this, this works, it worked for me. And then I started to realize, well, all the people applying, they're musicians. They must resonate with my story because I have that story too. And then I realized, well, they're not just any musicians. They're musicians who went to school for music.
Mm-hmm.
They're college educated musicians.
Mm-hmm.
And and then I started to realize, oh, that's who I should talk to. Okay, so that's another thing because those are the people that were, wanting to communicate more. So you start a little broad and you start to narrow it in, and I realized that maybe not all of them want to be multimillionaires, but they want control over their time to
Mm-hmm.
dedicate to their art and their creative passions. And then I started to talk more about that because that's what happens. So you start to adapt things just by listening, and that's what I teach other musicians to do now is to listen and talk to the exact person you want to attract. Think of your best students who is getting the best results from your methods, and just talk to those people, and they will just naturally be attracted to you. Don't try to please everyone. If you try to please everyone, it's going to be confusing.
Mm. Mm-hmm. We hear that a lot from musicians that they want anyone to come to their concerts, for example.
Mm. Yeah, and it goes back to like who's more valuable as a doctor, the generalist doctor, who gets paid more, right? Who gets compensated, who has the more perceived value, or the specialist. I'm going to send you to the specialist, right? So it's like be the specialist. Don't be afraid to niche down. Like I specifically work with this.
So you're helping musicians create profitable online businesses, is that right? Or also,
Oh yeah, online education businesses.
mm-hmm.
So what we discovered is there's a really great market of adults that want to learn music.
Okay.
They got the means, they got the drive, and a lot of them got the time too. And they're not wanting to be professional musicians like we are, but there's a huge market for these people that are serious, like committed. So just like if we were to, study, if someone plays tennis or something, it's not like they want to be a professional tennis player. sometimes musicians think that everyone wants to be a professional musician when they want to study. It's like, no, there's a huge market. Like someone who goes to martial arts, they don't want to be the next Bruce Lee necessarily. They
Right.
just want to study martial arts, right? So it's the same in the music market, and there's a huge market for that. So a lot of my clients, they get a lot of success serving adults that are committed students that are serious. They just may not want to be professional.
Amazing. Going back to 2006 when you started posting content, what was it like for you to be the first person of your group, sticking your neck out, trying this new thing, the internet, YouTube videos? Was it hard for you? Because I'm so fascinated by your mindset because I don't come across this mindset a lot with musicians where it's like sky's the limit, 10 million. Like, we talk to a lot of musicians who have been told you'll be starving your whole life. It will be a struggle your whole life. And that's part of our purpose is to break that off people. So like, how was that for you in the beginning?
Well, it's different, it's a mindset is a muscle that you constantly have to exercise. And if you don't exercise, you're going to lose it. Just like practicing our instruments, like you lose a lot of what we practice is just maintaining what we already worked for.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same with the mindset. Once you get to a certain mindset, if you don't exercise it, you're going to lose what you already got.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's a constant working on the mindset. So how do we get better at our mindset? We surround ourselves with people that have good mindsets. We listen to them speak. We read their books. We listen to their interviews. We surround ourselves by these people. We go to events of people that are great mindsets because it will drag you down. You become the average of the people you're around. Sometimes it's good to hang out with people that have bad mindsets so you can bring them up, though. So I like to kind of like divide it, like hang out with people that have better mindsets, people kind of where I'm at, and then people that have worse mindsets. You can bring the people up to where you're at, and you can also gain something from the people above you. So
Mm-hmm.
you want to balance it a bit, but the majority of your time should be around people that have a better mindset than you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Who were some of your early influences in those days?
Oh, I like Napoleon Hill. I read every book that he ever wrote.
Okay.
It's that's huge. That's the biggest one of them all. Amazing mindset. And a lot of Tony Robbins, like he knows how to fire people up. Good mindset. I like Zig Ziglar. Zig
Mm-hmm.
Ziglar's great mindset, great sales philosophy, just a really great perspective on sales process. So all of that.
And your initial mailing list, how many would you remember having on that list when you made that
It
first 5,
wasn't
6K?
many,
Yeah.
Michelle. It was just like, it was like maybe like a couple thousand people or something like that.
So what about those people who got your free album, were interested in the trombone? I'm just interested in the crossover of
Yeah,
finding the
because
right audience.
that's a great question because almost everyone watching me was into the trombone that I was doing because I was posting up a lot of tutorials on how to play trombone.
Right.
So if I was posting up like that, then those are the audience, and then here's my album, and then I got their emails, and all of a sudden they were the same people, and then I sent out the email, and then they bought the book.
So you had just kind of by accident built the perfect audience to sell to without even
Yeah,
realizing it.
yeah, I did, and it took a little longer. It took a little longer this way, the organic way, and then I discovered paid advertising, and I built the lists much faster when I discovered the art of ads and everything. And I did build up a lot of goodwill because I gave a lot of content out without asking anything initially. But I discovered one good webinar is all you really need, though. If you just have
Okay.
one good webinar, it can change your life. One good webinar.
How, and you said that your audience wrote your webinar. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, it's just based on conversation. So in order to get good at sales, in order to get good at a great offer, in order to get good at really anything, it's all based on conversations with people. So if you look at any successful business, why are they successful? Well, they're having the most conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a lot of people that say, no, okay, great, it's fine. And that's fine. And, just to give it perspective, everyone listening, I became a multimillionaire by converting less than 1% of every lead. It's like about 1%, about 1%. And then when I got better at it, it got closer to 2%. But my first $1 million, that first made me a millionaire. So it was a little over a million to become a millionaire because, you got expenses and everything. So the first million, everyone, 1% of all the leads.
That's a lot
So
of people that you're talking to.
a lot of people opt in. They don't talk to you and everything. But,
Yeah.
and not everyone wants to talk to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Right.
it's just a lot of conversations equal success. No conversations, you'll never know what to do. So what stops a lot of people from progressing in life is they're scared to have conversations. So
Okay, and yeah,
yeah.
why is that?
Well, we're afraid of rejection.
Right.
We're afraid that someone's going to say no. We're afraid. So that's a human, it's something inside human beings. So this is what I believe, and this is a mindset shift, is if you don't have a conversation, the answer is already a no. So you might as well have a conversation. And if you have a conversation, you will only make an offer if the conversation makes sense. And then in that way, you might as well go there because then you'll have a chance of a yes.
How did you keep going through the no's? What did you ever have a moment of discouragement where you had to rally?
You yeah, well so there's always that, but then you always think about the people that have benefited from what you put out there. And then if you can find more of those people whose lives you've changed, and if all it did was find more people and lives you changed, because you'll find that when you put yourself out there, you're going to have people say, that was the best service I ever had in my life. You changed my life. It was amazing. And you just got to think about those customers, students, clients, whatever you want to call them. And if you think of those, then you almost feel like it's your moral obligation to get that message out to as many people as possible. Because if they don't find you, they might buy from somewhere else, and you might as well just do it.
Yeah, this like speaks so deeply to I know a lot of people listening to who have um started to put themselves out there but maybe haven't seen the return on success yet. What are some mistakes that you're seeing musicians make who are maybe stepping into this kind of mindset?
Great question, Michelle. So there's two things that come up. So when someone hits a roadblock, what will stop success if someone hits a roadblock and say it's not working? Don't ever do that. That's my advice. Instead, if something happens, there's a roadblock, just ask yourself, why is it not working? And if you keep asking yourself, why is it not working? You're going to keep refining it. And as long as you don't stop, it's always going to manifest.
The reason you mean or the results?
The result is always going to
Yeah.
manifest. Yep.
Okay. Okay, so hypothetically, you have an offer, it falls on deaf ears, nobody buys. Your question is now, why didn't this work?
Yeah, why didn't it work? And you say, okay, so just curious, why didn't you move forward on it? And then what
Would
I
you ask
usually do,
you
yeah,
would
yeah, I
ask
do.
them?
Oh, of
Okay.
course. That's how
Okay.
you know. It's
Yeah,
like,
I mean, it's yeah, extremely good feedback. Okay, and then from that is where you get your learning point.
oh yeah, I'll ask them point blank. I'll say, just curious, what would need to be in this for you to move forward on something like this? Or like, just curious, for my own sanity, why wouldn't you move forward on like this? What is it? And then you'll hear it on the last minute concerns. I don't like to call them objections. I call them last minute concerns. Then I'll even send out a survey. So like, let's say you have an email list and people that move forward on it, be like, hey, just curious, I'm always into refining our marketing and finding people that can benefit from this. And, you know, if you don't mind, I have a little questionnaire. If you don't mind filling it out, and in exchange for that, I'll give you this or something like that. And then people, and say it's anonymous, and then you're going to get all kinds of feedback. And I've done that literally hundreds of times.
And
And
it's
then I
not
just,
enough for
it's
people.
not it's not a turn off. And then sometimes they're like, oh, and they fill it out and they're like, well, now I am interested in it.
So they sold themselves.
They sold themselves, and that's all you ever want to do. You never want to sell anything. What makes good sales process is when the prospect sells themselves, and you do it by the questions you ask. You never want to sell. You always want them to sell themselves, and you do it by the questions you ask, and it leads them to a part of their brain and unlocks different parts of their brain that they never tapped into before, where they now see a different perspective. And once they do that, they sell themselves.
And that's because you've had so many conversations that you know what they need or
Yeah. Oh
how do
yeah,
you
but
meet
it's always changing.
Mhm.
It's because we never stop having conversations. I can't tell you how many webinars I've created in the upper hundreds, maybe close to 1,000 different webinars now.
Really?
Yeah.
And these aren't like an hour training video? Like what is
Yeah,
it?
an hour, 2 hours is life changing. But you maybe that's similar, but I'm refining it all the time based on the conversations. And then once you have one that pops it off, I'll usually run like $1,000,000 through it, and then I got to change it again.
These are like sky high numbers. You've done 1,000 training videos. I mean, I just did one last week and it exhausted me.
Well, it's
I'm very, yeah, very impressed
over
by the
the
work.
course of time, you know,
Yeah,
over the
sure.
course of time, like little tweaks. I'm saying like little different versions of things, like little
Okay.
tweaks.
And that's because you're talking. I mean, your main clients are professional musicians wanting to build this profitable online education system,
Yeah,
right?
they're sick of, being burnt out with one-on-one lessons, no shows, not committed students. They're not getting they if they want to increase their earnings, they have to give up more time and they're never going to see their family. So that's
Yeah.
not fun. They maybe work at a school or institution and teaching things they don't want to, and there's a pay cap and they're working their butt off and they're all these admin policies, things they're dealing with. They don't want to do that. And maybe they're freelancing and waiting for the phone to ring and doing gigs they may not want to do, or it's not consistent, it's not paying the bills. And those are the people we're talking to, and we're just showing them, like, look, you can do these online group coaching programs from home, have committed students who are adults that have money, and you can spend more time with your family, have control of your schedule, and then charge premium rates because those are the people we're serving. And you only got to talk to the students, a couple group calls a week, and then have a group with them, and we are good to go. So that's what it is.
And the musician looks at you and they say, "What's the catch?"
Yeah, what's the catch? Well, the catch is you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone. It's
Mhm.
not going to happen overnight. Like, if you're scared of putting yourself out there, good luck, you
Right.
know. But however, if you are scared of putting yourself out there, think of the disservice you're doing to potential students that you can change their life to. And isn't that a little selfish if you look at it that way?
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Because that's what I hear all the time. I mean, the majority of people listening who don't wanna post on socials, it's because they're worried about colleagues being so judgmental, because you know the classical world. I mean, that's what we're raised on.
Yeah. Well, I get it too in the jazz world. It's fine. Uh, it's all good because you'll never be criticized by anyone doing anything better than you, only by people doing less than you.
Mhm. And that's because those people maybe admire what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. And well, here's the thing, Michelle. When I was making no offers and just doing what I call community service content, where I was putting things up for free and not making any offers, I still got people saying weird things and criticism.
Yeah.
So it's like, you might as well make offers,
Right.
because if you don't, someone else is. And if you can help someone, let's go.
What's been one of the most fun client stories that you've had?
Oh gosh, I've had people quit their jobs. I've had people retire their loved ones. I had people buy homes. I've helped make millionaires. Musicians teaching trumpet, teaching drums. Probably the student that has really done quite exceptional is a student I have named Damani. He's a drummer. He's a very smart person, and he was making like a couple thousand a month, maybe $2,000-3,000 a month, like doing a low ticket subscription site. And I showed him how to do this high ticket model. His first month he made like 25 grand, then he made like 50 grand a month, then he made like 100 grand a month, and then like a year later he made like $1 million, and he's now multiple seven figures. That dude's a very inspiring, smart human being, and he was able to really turn his life like completely around. And I see these stories all the time, but he sticks out because he really grew his business the farthest out of any student I've ever had.
Mhm. And
Mhm.
what does it take to go that far?
It's the same skills I'm talking about. He's an amazing listener,
Yeah. So
and
asking good questions. Yeah.
asking good questions, and why is it not working,
Mhm.
and refining based on the market.
Mhm. And what would you say, I mean, ads, is this still something we can trust? Is it gonna be around for a while?
Oh
What do you think
yeah,
people like? Yeah.
good question, Michelle, about the ads. So advertising has existed since human beings have existed. So maybe the platforms might change.
Right.
Maybe the way it's out there might change, but advertising will never change. So the cool thing about advertising is when you just look at the data, you can crack the code and literally just print money. So if advertising made companies lose money, do you think there would be an advertising market?
Right.
Right? The reason people advertise is because it works. That's
Mhm.
why they advertise. So you just have to look at it from that lens and look at the data and be very methodical about it. And that's something that I help people do because I had to test a tons of things about this. And once you're that way, and start small, start small. And once things are looking good, adjust, and then put the floodgates on once things are looking really good. Then you have a fulfillment problem. Then you're like, I got a lot of sales, now how to fulfill? And then you deal with that bottleneck later. You know, get the
Yeah.
sales first. That's another thing. Everyone's always, the sales makes the product the best.
Mm.
When you sell first and focus on the marketing, it allows you to fulfill on your promise of an amazing offer. Most people, they try to create something first and then try to sell it, and then they never know if anyone wants it, and then it's never, nothing happens.
And that's why you're saying have conversations and listen really well to your audience and let them tell you what they need.
Exactly.
Okay, so with your webinar tweaks, what are some things that you had to change that surprised you?
People are getting smarter.
Okay.
They know what they want. Just get to the point. Uh, say this is who it's for. This is not who's for at the beginning of it. Like
Okay. So you're
this is
calling out
what.
your audience. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this is who we're looking for. This is what we help you do. If you're into that, let's go.
Okay.
But the main thing about the webinar is I like to think about it like this, Michelle. You're in a courtroom, okay? And I like to use something from Russell Brunson, the big domino statement. He learned it from tons of people. I don't know who he learned it from, but it's been around. It's basically, if I can make audience believe that path is the best way to get to desired future, and the best way to get there is through offer name, all objections become irrelevant and they want to invest, right?
Yeah.
So once you craft that statement, I like to think about you're in a courtroom, and your webinar, you're basically presenting it to the jury. And when you do it correctly, the jury votes by moving forward. So you have to ask yourself, everything you do in the webinar, does this support the domino, or does this not support the domino? And if it does not support the domino, do not put it in it. If it supports the domino, leave it in it. And if I just follow that rule, and I find that we follow that rule, it allows the messaging to be really solid. And I even take it a step farther than Brunson and all those people, is I use that same principle in my ads, in the webinar, in the emails, in the follow-up. Every single stage has to follow that. So it's one cohesive, concise process, and no one's confused. Otherwise, they're confused. And if they're confused, they don't move forward.
They don't
So
buy. Right.
they don't buy it. So we need to make it very simple. And this has allowed me to make my marketing, my offers, and everything very simple when I think this way.
Because your messaging is so consistent across the board.
Yeah. The ad says the same thing as the webinar, says the same thing as the email, says the same thing as the sales calls, all of it.
So people get it. I love that you're saying at the beginning, this isn't for you because that creates a trust right away with the person listening.
Yeah. And a lot of people are afraid to qualify and push away people. But what I actually found, you'll actually get more business is if you repel people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look, we don't talk to those people. We only talk to these people.
And why does it bring more eventually if you're repelling people?
Well, because people like that. It's like in human nature,
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I want to be a part of that. I'm not like it's the us versus them thing. So that's how people get into power. It's like us versus them, It could be used for bad too. Don't do that. Use it for, what's ethical, right? And that's one way is, like, look, we only work with these people. We specialize in this. If you're not like this, it's okay. And because the thing is, people are expecting everyone to want to sell everyone. That's how the world's conditioned. We think that everyone wants to sell to everyone and make as much money as possible. So why would they say no to people? And the thing is, they're not used to it. So when you do that, it changes your positioning. It's like, well, no, we don't. If you want that, go over there. We do this.
Right. Right. Okay, you've touched on this a little bit. What do you tell musicians who feel like it's slimy to sell, or they're just so uncomfortable with that ask?
Well, first of all, that would only happen if you make an offer to someone that's not a good fit for what you do.
Okay.
And second of all, I like to not think of the word as sell. I like to think of the word help. So if you just replace the word sell as the word help,
yeah.
And then what's cool about it is there's these little concepts called transitions I like to use. So I will never like make offers to people unless I put a transition in. So example of a transition would be like, okay, was this helpful to you? First you want to lead with value. Did you find this valuable? Well, what if there's a way we can go deeper on it, and I could give you more insights, and I could give you more support, resources? Would you be interested in exploring an option like that? If I had something like that for you, would you be interested in something like this? And then see what they say. And if they say no, well, then they're not ready for the offer. If they say yes, just say okay. And then boom, now you got permission.
Right. So that's after they've bought something low ticket from you.
Oh, no, that's like at any stage.
Any stage, okay. Can we pivot and talk about concerts? Because a lot of people listening are trying to get more people to attend their concerts.
Oh, good one.
So helping audiences come to a concert. It's hard for us to wrap our minds around this.
Sure. So I recently did this. I wanted to prove to a venue that I could get people there. So I ran a little local ad,
Okay.
and so it's all goes to the email list. So if you can run like a little local ad of a concert going on and give some sort of incentive, that if you get some a voucher or something like that, and you opt in through here and you claim it, and just get their phone numbers too, and then you can just call them and follow up, and you can get a lot of people packed to a venue, and just run local ads. Local ads are the easiest. They're so easy. You can run them anywhere in the local area.
But how do you work the messaging to make an ad attractive? Because people see the ads and they just scroll. They don't. It doesn't mean that they come
You
to
say,
the concert.
I would call out the city. So let's say, what city are you in?
Maastricht
Okay, Maastricht.
in Holland.
Attention, Maastricht. Uh, are you so? And then the style. Are you into such and? Are you looking for something fun to do, or go out with someone you care about, or get away from the house, and you're also into this type of music? Well, uh, we're excited to share with you that such and such is doing a da 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 da. And normally, if you were to go on the site and get tickets, da da da. But if you go through here, we have a special promotion: buy one get one free. Whatever you want to do. There's a million ways to do it. Just enter your info in, and we actually can only do this for X amount of people. So you could choose how many people you wanted to do it. So like, how many people would you give this offer to? Right? You just make that decision. You have only X amount available for this. They opt into it. All of a sudden, there's going to be incentive because there's only going to be X amount of that deal. And then what you could do is you could set up an autoresponder, get the contact to follow up with the people that didn't buy the tickets, and then sell the tickets.
It's amazing. I mean, you're presenting it so beautifully and simply, and I hear all of the objections of like classical music. Nobody's interested. You can't sell tickets. Only, there's 200 seats, 40 people show up. This kind of thing. So yeah.
Well, it's all about the experience. You got to share what the experience is. Like, what are they doing here? What is the benefits of the experience? It makes you unwind. It makes you less stress. It inspires you. It makes your brain go to different places that may spark an idea that may change your life. You may connect to other people. Like, you talk about the benefits of all of it. It's not just the music, it's what the music can do. And then it's also like the experience, and like, and then you want to throw rocks. You want to throw rocks at what everyone else does. Oh, well, you want to, like, what else do they go hear the DJ at the place? They go to, like, what else do people do? Loud concerts where your ears going deaf. Like, you just throw rocks at the other things and then prop up your waves a new way. So I'll give you guys another tip. Here's another way. So you could take whatever you got, prop it up as the superior new way, and then make a list of all the other ways people want to do to get that type of result experience. And then just throw rocks at that through your marketing. And then they're like, oh, yeah, this person's got a point. Yeah, that is stupid. I guess I'll try this thing.
So like they could be sitting at home watching Netflix on the comfort of their couch. So we'd throw rocks at that and
Yeah,
say,
it's like, okay, if all this did was make you more active to get out of the house and added some years to your life, would it be worth it? Right? What would that be worth to you? Or maybe what if you met someone that created a lifelong relationship that became a dear friend of you, that led to hours of joy and sharing amazing insights of what you've discovered on this journey of life together. And if all it did was create that one connection, and would it be worth it to go out?
And that actually happens. Like I can think of so many people at the concerts who connect and bond at
Of
these
course.
experiences. Yeah.
Of course. And you just got to tell these people because they don't see it yet. We got to get them to see it.
And that's what you said earlier about having these questions that bring the prospect to selling themselves.
100%.
So then again, coming back to like talking to the audience after and asking questions. What did you enjoy about this? What was the experience for you? And then using that in the marketing.
Oh yeah, record all that, and they could be like one of those sizzle reels where they walk out of the theater. It was amazing, and then that becomes the ad to the next time you do it.
Right.
You see, perfect. Love it.
This is perfect. You know who does this really well is Candlelight Concerts. I play for them, and they have sold like, I don't know, 10 million tickets globally because they advertise incessantly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's really about selling that experience. But it's just been such like cracking our heads against the wall, trying to figure out how to package this concert going experience to the average person who doesn't necessarily be educated in classical music.
Yeah. Build the list. And what happens is once you have that list initially, it's only going to compound. And then you're going to have the next time there's a show, you send out the list, and you got the list, and it just keeps growing and growing, and more people come out to the shows.
So how important to you is your social media following now if you're putting so much emphasis on selling to the list?
Not that important. I
Mm-hmm.
guess important if people want to like vanity, like, oh, this person has all these followers, but like it doesn't really do much. I mean, what really matters to me is running traffic to an opt-in and then communicating with our audience either through email or phone number.
So how much time are you spending picking up the phone and talking to people? Is this like a main thing
Not
what you're
not so
doing?
much. I got an entire team.
Okay. 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 But
I
it's
did
it's
it
where you're
first. I
yeah.
put my
Right.
time in.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
thousands of sessions. I
Okay.
put my
Okay.
time in. I had to train people though, so I
Just
just
trying to make
trained
it
them.
relatable for like the solopreneurs listening. Like they should expect that there's a lot of conversations to be had here.
At the beginning. But
Hmm.
what's beautiful about it is you'll find people aligned with your mission, and then once you have some results yourself, you just train someone else to do it, and then you free up the time for the rest of your life to do whatever you want, where your superpowers are.
So on a conversation, what's important for you to hear from the client person? Let's say they came to a concert. What do you want to know from them?
I want to know what would need to happen for them to say, "Wow, that was the best experience I ever had."
Okay. And then asking them, yeah, what would make this
And
like a
I
10?
would say, "Have you ever gone out and it wasn't a good experience? Can you elaborate on what that was like?"
Mm-hmm.
And I would want to know that too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And then your social media, you're not using it as like a top of funnel to get down to the list. You're just letting it be a
I, I
vanity thing.
I mean, yeah, I post some things. I have a YouTube channel, a business YouTube channel, and I have a trombone YouTube channel too for trombone education and just anything about the trombone. I do have those. As far as like my Instagram goes and stuff, like I kind of just use it to like post family photos and stuff,
Okay.
and like what I'm doing for my music and stuff, just like kind of that. Like, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like my personal brand, I guess.
Okay.
However, I can tell you all right now, I would be no, because was all about followers. I thought that's what it was, and I had like a ton of followers, but I was poor. I had no income. I was sleeping on a couch. Okay, but what changed the game was when I discovered the art of paid advertising and building up your own distribution and knowing your numbers. And you don't have to have a large following once you know that. You can start with a couple clients organically. It's fine. Get a couple organic things. Work with them. Get great results. Use those as the seedling to find more people like them and do
Hmm.
that through the art of paid advertising.
Hmm. Okay, this is amazing. Coming to your music, how do you divide your time? Do you still have room for gigging, performances, or like where are your
All
passions
the
at?
time. Had a gig last night. Had one the day before. I have
Nice.
two recording projects coming up now. Yeah, of
Okay.
course I have to. It's my life.
Yeah.
So as you see in the background, I have instruments everywhere
Yeah.
because throughout the day, uh, I always say the hardest part about practicing an instrument is taking the instrument out of its case.
Right.
So I have the instrument out of its case everywhere.
That's
So
smart. Mine's also out of the case, I have to say, all the time.
cool, cool. Cool. Yeah, and that helps because then I just see it and I play it and I'm like, let's go. And I do it. I put the time in because I want to get better always. And there's other instruments I play than trombone too that I'm trying to get really into these days. So it helps clear my mind. It actually helps me better at business. It's just like you put the time to an exercise, you put the time into practicing your instrument. It actually makes your business better.
Mm.
It's like a meditative thing.
And you're walking the talk so people can look at you and say he's actually doing it.
Right.
It's a reason for people to trust you.
Right. And you meet a lot of people too, because you don't want to ever stop playing your instrument. It's very
Right.
important. Yeah.
No, I'm glad you're touching on this because I think a lot of people feel like they have to choose.
No.
There comes a time when like practicing is like the last thing on the to-do list. We hear that from a lot of people ask me like, how do you balance the creative life with all the admin stuff?
Well, you got to prioritize it. You got to schedule it in. So
Hmm.
if you don't schedule it in, it's never going to happen.
Right.
It's like how much do you want it to well, I mean, I'm gonna test it because guys, look, everyone listening, I had no help at the beginning. I was gigging out constantly. I had a full-time job and I was freelancing. And I also made my first $1 million completely alone without anyone helping me. And I was also practicing the trombone like crazy. And I did it all. So if I can do it, then anyone else can do it.
Okay, but like what's the secret? Like what's your drive? Where does this come from?
Well, I mean, I feel like just life is short.
Mm.
Like and I'm just kind of fearless about things because like I kind of feel like this may sound weird, but like we're gonna all die anyways. So it's like, what do you got to lose? Like what's the worst that's gonna happen? Like, let's go, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see what happens. Let's go. And I don't like to look at anything as like a failure. It's just like it's a learning experience. Oh, well, I learned this, so next time I'll do that, and that's a success because now I know don't to do not to do that, and that puts me on the path to do this.
Yeah.
So where people fail is they think like manifestation. That does nothing. It's it's
Okay.
manifestation
Yeah.
plus taking action,
Right.
then looking at the data of that action, then reassessing the next action you're going to take based on the data, and then looking at the data again. It's like a circle. So you manifest in your mind what you want, and then you say to yourself, "What did I do today to make that happen?"
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is nothing, well, nothing's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to ask yourself honestly, what did I do today to make this manifestation I want to happen today? And as long as you keep doing that, I'm telling you, everyone, it's going to start to happen eventually.
Where do people fall off track with this?
They lose momentum.
Okay.
They hit a little roadblock and they're like, oh gosh, I'm a failure. And then they stop.
Right. Rather than saying, why isn't it working? What
Why
can I
isn't it
do
working?
differently? Yeah.
100%.
Okay. I mean, you're super passionate. It's very inspiring. Thank you for being a positive influence on the music industry and for showing that it's possible. I think we need more people like you to demonstrate like we don't have to be starving artists. What's like the message of your heart? Like, what do you want people to know?
I want people to know that everyone has a purpose in life and that everyone is in part of the whole big system of human beings. And if you just sit alone in your room and you're staring and you're not putting yourself out there, you could be potentially hurting not only yourself, but a lot of other people. There's a ripple effect of your actions. So if all you did was change one person's life, that could be enough as a ripple effect to change millions of more lives.
It's so beautiful. Thank you so much, Paul. This has been so inspiring. We'd like to finish our episodes with an action point. Do you have one thing that somebody could do today based on everything you've shared?
Have conversations with people.
Yeah, that's great. I had a great one today.
I had a great one with you. You're awesome. Thanks for having me, Michelle. This was so fun.
Oh, this has been a blast. How can people find you? How can they follow you? Where's the webinar?
Paul the Trombonist on Instagram. There's a link in the bio to my webinar. Or you can go to passionbuildersonline.com. I got free classes for musicians on helping you guys build these group programs that we discovered. All of that.
Amazing. Paul, thank you so much. This has been great.
Honor to be here. You take care.
You too.